All right, today I'm going to show you a couple of cheat codes on how to visualize the tangent line so that you can better predict where the cue ball is going to go next so that you can get in better position after hitting your object ball. The easiest way I like to think about left and right spin is left and right spin are for the rails, top and bottom spin are for the playing surface. And that's because top spin and center ball make the tangent line of the cue ball come out in a peace sign, whereas stun or bottom English makes it come out in the shape of an L. So let's take a look at the tangent line using top spin, center ball, stun, and different speeds of bottom spin. All right, first we're going to start off with top spin at about 35% power. So from the previous diagram, we know that the cue ball is going to strike our object ball and exit in a direction of a peace sign. Now we're going to bump up the speed to about 70%, as we see in the power meter in the top left-hand corner. But with more power, we're going to get a little bit of a side step to the right of the object ball, but it's still going to come back and forth in generally a straight direction. Now we're going to move on to center ball, and I want to show you that at slow speeds, there's really no difference between center and top spin. You see how it's that middle diamond there? Now let's look at top spin and center ball laid one over top of the other, and we can see that the tangent line is almost identical at slow speeds. Now, for me personally, this was something that I often confused while I was learning the physics of the tangent line. The peace sign indicates where the cue ball is going to go for both top spin and for center ball. Now, the most important part to remember is to keep one finger over the shooting line. And in this diagram, your index finger tells you where the cue ball goes.
By the way, if you're learning something, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel.
Now we're going to increase the speed again to about 70%, and we'll see the direction change of the tangent line and where it goes. Look at the diamonds on the left rail. So when in between the diamonds that time. Now an interesting observation here, even though we're using stun, we're hitting it too slow for it to exit at an L angle. So you see how it hit that middle diamond there? It was very similar to top and center because the natural roll took over. Now we're increasing the speed to about 50%. Watch where the cue ball goes. It went to that third diamond and spun off the rail. Now when we increase the speed to 70%, we're going to get more of that L-shaped action and almost scratch in the side pocket. And that's because stun with more power has backspin after collision. Now we're moving on to bottom English, but slower speed. Because we're putting more bottom spin at slow speed, it acts like a stun shot, almost scratching again in the side pocket. So let's watch the two together. Let's watch stun at 70% and bottom English at 30% and see that they're almost identical in their tangent lines.
So this is a very important fact that you need to remember. You can either use less spin with more power or more spin with less power. They both equal the same result.
Now let's pick up the pace with 50% power, bottom English, and see how the cue ball almost scratches in the top left-hand corner. But when we increase the speed to 70%, we're going to see a lot of that backwards action bring the cue ball almost straight up to the top rail. Let's watch it again in slow motion. Let's watch how that backwards spin halts the forward motion and converts it to a natural roll all the way up to the top rail. Now what's happening here is the cue ball spinning backwards, gripping the table, and then once the spinning stops, it starts to naturally roll. You see the dots on the ball? Now there's one more thing I want to talk about, and that's misusing the stun shot at slow speeds. Sometimes we think that just because we're aiming below center, that the cue ball is going to stop when we have a straight-in shot like this. But as we're going to see in this slow motion replay here, the cue ball starts spinning backwards, watch the dots in the ball, and then it starts rolling forward. That's because the cue ball wasn't still sliding backwards when it contacted the object ball. And then so it starts to roll forward instead of stopping. But this is a great tool to remember if we need to get position for our next ball, but we want to hold our position without going too far. But if we increase the speed to 50%, watch how the cue ball now stops dead in its track. Now we'll watch it again in slow motion, and we can see the red dots on the ball, how they spin backwards all the way to the red 3 ball. And it transfers the power to the 3 ball, stopping the cue ball dead in its place, which would be a great setup shot if the 8 ball was over here instead. And lastly, when we increase the speed to 70%, that stun shot now becomes a draw shot. Same aim on the cue ball, but with more power. And you'll see how the cue ball is still spinning backwards after contact, which is what makes it a classic draw shot. Now that you have a better understanding of how to use the tangent line, watch this video next to understand what happens to the cue ball's path when we use all different types of spin, including side spin.
And if you like my teaching style, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to give this video a like and a share so that other pool players out there just like you can find this content to step up their game. Now don't forget to check my channel's playlist for more videos in this series where I'm going to do different shot layouts to help you unravel the mystery of where the cue ball goes next so that you can get in better position. Alright, that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Click here if you want to watch another one of my videos.